Peace and light, everybody. Is me, is I, the M.O.I. What's going on, everybody? Get my lighting together, man. I'm excited. That intro, boy. I'm gonna work on my intro a little bit more too, because that the intro will get me fucking lit. I be getting excited about the intro. I can't even tell you why, but I'm excited about it though. All right, let's hop in these comments real quick, because y'all was in here early. Y'all was in the comments early. Peace and light, peace and light. What's going on, family? Islam. Greetings, Islam. Boy, y'all in here deep. Islam to all the Moors. The Taz show was in the building. Taz, you saw your intro that you put up there? The intro was fire. It was fire. Who else we got in here? Peace and love. This sister here been holding it down over on Facebook, man. In the brand new group I'm part of, and I promise you, I'm gonna get more active in that group, and bring out some more heat. Just we have a lot of moving part, lot going on, but I'm gonna get active in that group a little more too. So peace to her. Who else we got here? Y'all was in the comments early, boy. Y'all ready. I love that. New subscribe. See, Taz, you see what happens? You see what happens? All because of the good brother Taz, a new subscriber. Appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe, man. Like, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Brother Taz Show, subscribe to Chrome TV. Between these channels, because this is the first thing, y'all not gonna put me up against nobody. All right, because that's confusion. That's the lower self. You know what I'm saying? The lower self came to rob, kill, and steal, and confuse everything. So I show love to everybody's platform. I get on anybody's platform. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who they are. I go on their platform and rock it. So peace to good brother Taz again for that. I am honored. People are tapping in. So everybody tapping in. Who said they made it? Yes. Boy, we about to get down, man. So listen, if y'all missed part one last time, y'all missed the treat. Man, the sister, Yashani, I'm saying that name right. Yashani, she gonna get on my ass if I say her name wrong. But me and her was on her last time holding it down. And I told y'all that somebody was going to be returning this time that's going to shut it down. And I finally got the sister ready. She got her notes. I see her in the green room. She ready to rock and roll. So listen, man, I'm excited about it. Greetings, peace and love. Look, man, with no more delay. I know y'all ready to get to it. I'm ready to get to it too. Let me go ahead and bring the sisters in the room, man. I'm going to bring them in here because they ready. I'm ready. So in case you have not known, rabbit hole later. So without further ado, without any more, let's bring the sisters in here, man. What we got backstage? Peace and love, peace and light. Make sure y'all meet y'all, Mike. Peace and love, sister. What's going on? How you feeling? Can you hear me okay?
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Greetings and salutations. Peace and love, minister. How you doing this evening?
All right. It's
All is well.
Yasmin.
Introduce yourselves. Introduce yourselves to the platform, please.
I am Yasini of Yasini in the House and Yasini University. And minister, I don't mind if you get my name wrong, as long as you get the first part right. Yeah. Okay. The other part is sin. The sin as in the moon sin. Yasini is in the house. Salima Ellis is in the house tonight.
Islam,
Greetings and
Islam. Listen,
salutations.
man. I am super excited, man. Glad to have you in the chat. So listen, Sister Ellis.
Yes.
Last time I'm like, listen, I don't. Last time I was in here by myself with the sister you see them, but I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. I'm just let the energy flow, and the energy flowed, and I left a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, up for us to get into tonight. So what I want to do is, first of all, because they heard my voice in part one already, I want to allow Sister Yasini to kind of moderate it. She's some questions and stuff she want to dive into, and I'm gonna let you have the podium first to just dive in. So I want to pose the first question. Let me back up. First question: why the subject, the penal colony? Explain to the people what it's about. What is it?
You asking me? Okay. The subject, why the subject is, first of all, our people are perishing for lack of knowledge. We don't have this knowledge, therefore we're perishing more than we care to. It's information and knowledge that we need to free ourselves. Because what we want to do is bring a halt to all operating open air penal colonies which try to compulse us or enslave us. So that's why penal colonies is the subject.
And if I might add,
Please.
it's a subject that's untouched, basically, even though we see it every day with our prison industrial system. We don't understand that this is the ground basis for the colonizers being here. It wasn't to give us their guide, it wasn't to give us religion. They actually used that as like a overlay for their underlay, which we never understood what they were doing because we got so consumed in their religion. And that's what it does. It binds us. And what is it binding us from? The truth. And so now the truth is out. Now we can tackle it. We know what it is now, and we can go after it. We can dismantle it and actually free our people. Stop being hung up on per se, unless you're going to learn who Jesus is and
Mm.
concerned with what Jesus is doing. Is he your God? Is he for you? Is he telling you how to free yourself? Or is he telling you to remain a slave and obey master and love your enemy? Because I'm
Okay.
seeing that as if I find out somebody's in my camp and has been pissing on my leg and telling me it's raining, you're out of there.
Ooh-wee.
Out of there,
Ooh-wee.
Jesus.
Ooh-wee.
Out of there.
So we set the tone early. I
Oh,
love it. I love
preach
it. I
your
love
good,
it.
preach your good deeds, but be correct. When I go and check, I don't want to find that you was a placebo.
Mm. Mm. A straight
Okay.
implant. A straight implant.
Facts, God is fact.
Straight
Facts.
implant. So let's do this right here. Let's tell the people, because some people may not even ever heard of this shit. So off the rip, y'all know how we do over here. M.O.I. Get your pen and your paper, get your pen and your pad. Take some notes. All right. We're not here to entertain y'all. This is not one of those channels where we here to just, you know what I'm saying, make some whole bunch, a lot of weird noise and entertain y'all. This is for students. This is for both disciples and master students over here on this channel. So get your pen and your paper, take some notes. And before I proceed to talk, don't believe a word I say. I'm not here to convince y'all nor persuade y'all. This is just information, right? But I guarantee you at some point, as the brothers Good Mob say, listen to me now, believe me later on in the future. All right. This information, you will hear it again. All right. So take notes. If you come across a word or a subject matter that you don't quite understand, something you don't know, whether I say it or sister say it, just write it down. Write it down. Take notes. We'll try to give you the best spelling that we can of it. The spelling is not really important. It's the interpretation of it. So take notes. This is a taking note. This is an active learning center at this point. All right. So a lot of us may not even know what penal colony. I never heard of penal colony. Might have heard of penis, but not penal. Okay, penal colony. Let's just go to the definition to get a layman's term of what it is. It says a penal colony or a exile colony. Write that down. A penal colony or an exile colony is a settlement. Write down the word settlement. These are some words I'm going to point out to you. It's going to have to make sense for you later. A penal colony or an exile colony is a settlement used to exile prisoners and separate them from the general population by placing them in a remote location, often an island or distant colonial territory. So by now, words like settlement and colonial should be ringing some bells in your head, like some lights should be going off. Like, wait a minute, I heard the word colonial and the word settlement before. Where have I heard this shit from before? Continue. Although the term can be used to refer to a correctional facility, the sister just told y'all that. Sister, y'all just told y'all that. It can be referred to as a correctional facility located in a remote location. It is more commonly used to refer to communities of prisoners overseen by wardens. Write down the word warden. Write down the word governor. Okay? Warden, as in wards of the state. Governor, as in a landlord.
Yes.
And I'm going to show y'all who the governor really is and show you don't live in cities, you live in manors. Okay? We're going to talk about the word county, which means conquered land in a minute. All right? Having absolute authority. Historically, penal colonies have often been used for penal labor. Write down the word penal labor. In an economically undeveloped part of the states, usually colonies or territories, and on far larger scales than prison farms. Write down the word prison farm. Now, before I pass the mic to the sister, I want the listening audience to think for a second. Where else have you heard the word colony? Where else have you heard the word settlement or settlers? Where have you heard the word colony or colonial? If you don't know what a penal labor is, it's the same thing as chattel labor. If you never heard of the word prison farm, it's the same word as a plantation. Let's continue. Sister, what say ye?
Right and exact all the way through. You just broke that down better than I have in quite some time. I was just talking with someone about the governors and the wardens because we don't understand what the governors and senators of these lands really are. We don't understand that they're really running the open air penal colony.
Okay.
And that those positions are inherited through their family line. That's why their children don't go to school with our children, because they're putting their children in place to run the penal colony next. Look at governors and senators. How many of them get voted in by name recognition alone?
Wow.
Because that's their inheritance to run the open air penal colony, which is why governors, senators, mayors, you never see their kids going to school with ours. That's how you got to know integration was the overlay for the underplay. Okay. So when you're thinking of these open air penal colonies, we got to really understand who's running them. and what these labels and who they are, these officers and agents, who they really are and where they are. Because we think they just some predators. No, they right here. That's why I want to make that clear and break that down. Like, look, the reason why they never go to school with us is because they're next in line to run the open air penal colonies. Flat out. Flat
That's
out.
that's right. That's absolutely right. Now let's add, because let me tell you something, family. With me, everything that's talked about over here on the misinformation channel, we're gonna give y'all receipts. We're not doing a bunch of barbershop talk. Oh, I heard so and so, and we're not doing all that. That's why I ask people, don't compare me to nobody, okay? Because I don't do that. I don't sit here and just talk outside of my neck. Anybody I bring on my channel, they're gonna give y'all receipts, okay? So let's talk about what Sister just mentioned real quick, and we're gonna continue. So basically, what we're explaining to y'all, as I just explained earlier, understanding what the penal colony is. Let's talk about how and what was the use of the penal colony. Now, of course, we're alluding to, as of right now, because we got a long show to go. So you need to go get your cup of water, use the bathroom, and let's get into it, right? So we're talking about, or what we're alluding to, I'm alluding to personally, is the colonial system of what we know in North America, the 13 colonials, or 13 colonies.
Yeah.
Those 13 colonies were 13 penal systems, 13 penal colonies. And those Slavs or slaves. See, the Slavs that got brought over here, that's what the word slave comes from. They were Slavic prisoners. They were in debt over in Europa, or what you call Europe, right? And actually it was called the colonial project because they didn't think it was going to work in the first damn place. It was an experimental project signed up and founded by the Virginia Company. And then the Pennsylvania, these are companies, these are corporations. And I'll talk to you about corpse in a minute, which are dead pledges in a second, right? So, or dead entities known as a person. So these prisoners of war, okay, got sent over to the colonies, and a lot of them escaped. A lot of them were white people or Europeans were the first runaway Slavs or runaway slaves. And because there were only about 8 to 9 colonies, a lot of those individuals came down south. So the story you hear about the ancestors running north for freedom, that was a flat out lie. And I can explain that to you as well. Nobody ran north for freedom. Okay. The only reason they ran back north, the ancestors ran back north because they were from there in the first place. Okay. I can show you where it was called the domestic slave trade, what was called the second Atlantic slave trade. Because in 1808, they outlawed slaves coming from Africa in the first place, right? There wasn't that many of them, trust me. So anyway, these Europeans, these Slavs, these slaves ran down south, what we call the South today, past Virginia. And a man by the name of James Oglethorpe, okay, created what was called a trust. Trust on the back of your money. Say, in God we trust. We're not talking about the deity. We're talking about the governmental ordinance department. Let me run that back for you. Slow it down. Governmental ordinance department. It's not religion. It's not religion on your money because you can't mix church and state. I already told you that, which the church is a state anyway. But anyway, so now you have the governmental ordinance department, okay, setting up a document. So James Oglethorpe sets up a trust to found what was called the Virginia colony. And the Virginia, look it up, the Virginia colony was a colony of criminals, a bunch of runaway Slavs who ran from the 7 to 8 penal colonies that were set up. Pennsylvania being one of the first that were actually worked out. Jamestown was a goat fuck. Jamestown, the prisoners would eat one another and everything. That's where crime comes from. The crime syndicate comes out of Europe. The idea of crime. They bring some more receipts, so keep that in mind. These first colonies that were established, okay, over here in the Americas, they were established because, see, we give Europeans too much credit. See, Europeans come from what's called a monarchy, okay? And from a monarchy, they never seen what's called a republic. They had to learn what a republic was, all right? In fact, Moors, okay, Islam, we are the republic. We are the republic, Okay, the ones who are the nationals, the national debt belongs to us. We are the republic. That's why they say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which is the corporation, but it says, and to the republic, which is us, Islam. All right, so now we understand that there's two different systems over here. So the feudal system, talk about the feudal system, which comes from law. Feudalism, also known as the feudal system, was a combination of legal, economic, military, cultural, and political customs that flourished in medieval Europe between the 9th and the 15th century. When you see 9, it means the 800s. When you see 15, it means the 1400s. Okay, so anytime you see that number, 15, whatever the number says, 10th or century, do 100 years before that. That's what it means, all right? I want to point out something real quick before I pass the mic. So what happens is, it says the classic definition by Francisco Louis Ganshoff describe a set of reciprocating legal and military obligations, right? Write down the word reciprocal. ROCIPAL, reciprocal. Now, reciprocal is also synonymous with the word of perpetuity. In perpetuity, it means forever. The sister just told you the governors and their children, they own this land in perpetuity. Okay, reciprocating. It never ends. I'm gonna show you why. And military obligations. What military? The army of God. Who was the army of God, minister? The army of God was set up by the Franciscan Brotherhood under the Pope, known as the Knight Templars. See, this land was taken over by military might. Go think they just came over here and just whooped the ancestors' ass. Look up the 100-year Indian Wars. And the chief Indian who led the wars in the 13 to 1400s, his name was Metatron. Yes, Chief Metatron, a brother from the Pamunkey tribe. So love to the Pamukis and love to the Wampanoag, okay, and the Gullah. See, they met all of our ancestors on the East Coast because they couldn't come inland for a long time. But through military might under the army of the Lord. That's not who the Lord was. It says, in military obligation, which exists among warrior nobility. This is what sister just told you, how the heirhood, it gets passed down through a noble bloodline. You have to be one of them by name, okay? And revolved around 3 key components. Write this down. Lords, vassals, and fiefs. Fiefs. The Lord, watch this. The Lord is an application for a person or deity who has authority, control, or power over others, acting, this is colorable, acting as master or chief or ruler. The appellation can also denote certain persons who hold a title of parsonage in the United Kingdom or entitled to courtesy title. The collective lords can also be referred to as a group. The Lord, beside the word Lord, write down governor. Because the governor is the lord of the estate. The state. He is the governor. He governs the estate. Okay, watch this. Vassals. A vassal, a lineage subject, is a person regarded as having a mutual obligation to a lord or monarch. Write down a vassal. Fiefs. A fief is a certain element in medieval contracts. Contracts. Oh boy, write this down, man. Contracts, which is also known as a what's it called? But the Indians were signing, but didn't know what they were signing. Treaties. Treaties. They call them treaties. So we thought, oh, it was a treaty. It's a goddamn contract.
Yeah.
Because our ancestors didn't read or write English, okay? They wouldn't let slaves read. No, we couldn't read it because we never see. English is such a dumb language. We don't know what that is. We don't communicate like that.
Legalese.
Right. So they have to sign with a X, marks the spot. So let's continue real quick. So it says it consented a form of property holding or other rights granted by the overlord to the vassal who held it as fatality or a fee in return for a form of feudal allegiance, service, or payment. Hold right there down. I'm gonna show y'all two more things. Watch this, because this is gonna set up and serve real good for understanding what the penal colony is. All right. So it says, including not the obligation of warrior nobles obligated to all three estates of the realm. Estates. Estates. The estates of the realm or three estates were broad orders of social hierarchy used in what? Christendom, not Christianity. Write down the word Christendom. Christendom and Christianity are not even the same thing. They look the same, but they're not the same thing. Christendom is the conquest through Christianity. This was done through people like what's your boy name? Who had the council meetings. What's his name?
The council of Nicaea.
Yeah, the white boy Constantine.
Yeah.
Constantine set that stuff up, right? And then that goes all the way down through other parts under the Pope, like the Intercaterra Cavina.
Right.
The Intercaterra Cavina was issued by the Pope to conquer these lands. That's how we got this is how this got set up as a penal colony over here in North, South, Central America, was through certain paperwork by the clergy under Christendom. All right. Let me show you how you get the is it on here real quick? Where is it at?
Wait. You going too far, but I want to go back a little
Please,
bit.
Continue. Go
because
ahead.
you were talking about the feudalism and how they thought they were signing treaties. I want to make that clear because everything we talk about, I want our people to understand that it can be related to today.
Thanks.
Everything we do, whether we talking or not, is a contract. Even your physical touch is a contract.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when we're talking about feudalism, and they thought that they were signing treaties, they didn't realize that they were signing empty contracts. And this is how you know it's an empty contract. We always have some work to do, but they never do.
Islam.
And if we don't back out the contract soon enough, we owe them for something that they still never did. That's what insurance policies are. That's what bonds are. Like they'll tell you, you pay, you do this and we'll do this for you. But now you're paying out for something that never happens. And then when you want to break that contract because it was never fulfilled, but you're paying these people money into this contract, you get penalized for that too. So that's what feudalism is. That's what those treaties are. We have to be aware that they're still using them today. They'll give you what's called an accumulative contract where it looks good on paper, but in the end, you come out short. You start off like this, but by the time you finish signing that cumulative contract, you like this in the end. So go ahead, Bob. I just want to make them aware of what you're saying. Ain't just in the past. That's happening today.
Islam. So one thing that I want us to be cognitive of real quick is how I was explaining. Let me see. Right here. Here we go. Right here. How I was just explaining the feudal system. So let me take y'all back real quick. And let's go to now to the scriptures. All right. Let's talk about Chalcedania, who y'all call Lucifer. I call him Chalcedania because off this planet his name is Chalcedania, no other than Jesus is Celinda, and John is Yanun, and Abraham is Amdon. So these are their galactic names. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what it is. So let's take it back to when he was sent down, because the book of Revelation tells you that it was a war in the heavens. Now the heavens is an estate. The heavens is a realm. Okay, the word realm, right, refers to a certain territory of land, whether seen or unseen. There's a heavenly realm and there's an earthly realm. As it is above, it shall be below. Like there's nations down here, there's nations up there. Okay, so now Caligastia or Lucifer was kicked out of the heavens by Christ Michael. Yes, because Christ is a title, not a person. Christ Michael. Christ Michael then appears down here later. Get to the point. So he kicks Lucifer out of the heavenly realm and banish him to what's called Urantia, or what y'all call, the Greeks call Earth, or Ithra. Now, Earth was a dark water planet. Guess what Earth was? A penal colony.
Mm.
A penal colony for all the lost souls. That's what Earth is. And that's why you're here, because Earth itself is a penal colony. And you were banished here to Earth, the penal colony. And since you were little, at least all the so-called black folks who was raised in the South or anywhere, your grandma been telling you that one day we're going to die and go where? Back up to the vast estate. We're going to leave this penal colony. Since you've been placed here, you've been having it bad. Since you can read, you can go all the way back. Read back to Egypt. It's okay. We was here before Egypt. Go back to Atlantis. The Atlanteans were banished here. Okay? The people from the land of Mu were banished here. The terrestrious beings who live inside the planet were banished here. You cannot leave this planet. You know what's the prison of the soul? This flesh. Let me show you in the book of Genesis when you got the flesh, because they tell you all the flesh was the fall of man. You see, when the Lord, right then the word Lord, I told you that, the Lord of the manor bound us with this flesh. And ever since then, the first penal colony, which you refer to as the Garden of Eden, was established. In the Garden of Eden, being the first penal colony, they were given laws or statutes or commandments or ordinances of what they can and cannot do. Once you broke the law or the ordinance, you were banished out of the colony. Let's take a look real quick, and we'll go back to the manor in a second. Go ahead, sis.
Let me say something about those laws right quick.
Mm-hmm.
And we equate them with the Bible as commandments, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we further want to equate them with M.O.I, or Egyptian laws, in which there was much more, and I believe they were used in a different way. Now I know they were the 42 laws of M.O.I are not to be equated with the 10 commandments that Moses delivered, because Moses is delivering law to a penal colony, right?
Facts.
Yes, he's not trying to deliver how to get to heaven rules. He's trying to deliver law upon this land, which is colonized by penal codes. So we should stop trying to compare the 10 commandments to the 42 laws of M.O.I, for one.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why people do that.
Okay.
People do that under the auspice that that the 92 or 96, I'm saying, negative confessions of Mayat.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have to understand who Moshe was, who y'all call who Moses, or some people call Thutmose or Tahuti, who he was, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna tell you why he got the name Tahuti and Thutmose. So Moshe, now the story of Moshe goes like this: he was placed in a reed basket, and Pharaoh's daughter got him out of the river. That's what the word Mose means. It means to draw from the river. I ask people, if he floated up into Egypt, where was he put in the water at to float up into Egypt? He was put in the water at the base near Uganda. It was called the Kush Empire. Okay, so this Cushite child floated up into what we call today Egypt, all right, or Mizraim. Biblically, that's what it was called, Mizraim, right? He floated up into that territory, and the Bible says Moses was learned in all the ways of the Egyptians. What does the word all means? Everything. Everything you can name, he was learned in all that shit. The religion, the language, the culture, the feet, everything. So now Moshe, being learnt in that, who were the deities during the time of Moshe in Egypt? It wasn't Gab, it wasn't Shu, it wasn't Ra, it wasn't Isis, or let me call her real name. It wasn't Ishtar, it wasn't Aset. It was not those deities, because those deities represent the old gods, what's called the Ungad, Ogadad. I can show you Ungad. Mayat represents the new deities. Okay, now we're talking about Nana Sin. We're talking about the new deities, what's called the non-primordial deities. So Moses was learned of those deities. So he did receive a portion of that lesson of Mayat, those negative professors of Mayat, because Moses was a learned man of all the ways of the Egyptians, and anybody that was declared to be a Coptic priest, look up, write down Coptic priest. Okay, the Coptic priests of that particular, they were known as Mukmin. Mukmin, in Arabic they call them Mukminati or Katab, men of the book. So Moses was learned of the laws of Mayat. Did he copy the laws of Mayat and write down 10 of them shits to govern his people under the new colony? He probably did. He probably did. That was a great point. That was a great point. Let's dive into this real quick.
I also want to go back when it comes to when we talk about Moses and the commandments with Mayat, that when the Israelites sacked Egypt, they keep saying they took an ark, but what they really took was the oracle. Because the oracles run and keep the civilization moving. Well, I don't like to use the word civilization, but they keep the realm moving. See, and he didn't have those commandments until after he went and talked to that oracle. But they're going to try to make it seem like their God did that, when we all know gods ain't nothing but senators, governors, wardens.
Come on now.
So where was he getting that information from? Because it wasn't them, because they ain't nothing but warmongers. So they had to get the word of peace from somewhere, from Mayat. What did they really take? Because in Genesis, they often talk about how the Israelites sacked Egypt before they left. So they didn't take an ark. They already took all the gold and everything. They took an oracle, and Mayat was the oracle.
Teach Muhammad.
Or some other form of oracle under the teachings of Mayat. Because he had to have a way to keep those beasts under control.
And
that's why Moses knew what he was doing when they fled, and that's what really made Pharaoh come after them. We can go into it. I got my Bible right here.
Oh, listen, I want y'all to have all the holy books, because this narrative of the penal colony, I'm telling you, it stretches across everything. You can go into any, let's just say it, law book. We can break out the Black Laws Dictionary. Okay, we can break out the holy tablets. We can break out the Injil, which you call the Bible. We can break out the Quran. We can break out the Torah, the Pentateuch, the Sefer Harasa. We can get into all those books, and I can show you where the penal colony would definitely be associated with everything. Islam. Now let's continue. But y'all got me hyped. I love it. So let's go into give y'all the point where we at first. Let's go into Genesis 14. Now I'm gonna show you where the Lord of the manor is about to, and the word manor means a territory, a particular city, actually. He's about to put Cain outside of the particular, first of all, I'm gonna go back and show you where he put Adam outside of the penal colony first. He told Adam he got to go. Now he about to put Cain outside the colony. And Cain gonna tell him, don't put me out there, they're gonna kill me. Who is out there, Cain? It's supposed to be just y'all four right now. Who out there? That's the first clue, right, to understanding somebody's out there. Let me point out something real quick to y'all. Let's go to Genesis 14. Let's go to 5. Let me teach y'all something real quick. So next time you come across the Hebrew Israelites, you have this conversation with them. Verse 14. It says, in the 14th year came Cheladam, I can't pronounce those names right. Shedaralam, he was the king anyway. Where him and his Samot, the Raphaims, write that down. The Raphaims are also important. Rephaims. The Raphims, or Raphaelim. All right. It talks about the Zizums in Ham. Ham is a place of the black people, right? The Enims and Shava, right? And who? And the Horites. Who are the Horites? Do anybody know who the Horites are? Can anybody guess who the Horites are?
Can't say that I do.
When it says what does it sound like? Horites.
The horse.
Horrible people.
Well, we're in Egypt now. We're in
Horus,
Egypt.
yeah. Horrible
Horus.
people. Horus.
Let me just show you who the Horites were. The Horites are Hebrews.
Wow.
And the Horites, watch this right here. The Horites are Hebrews. I just showed you that. The Horites were people mentioned in the Torah. In Deuteronomy 2:12, inhabitants of Mount Seir, right? What is the meaning of Horites? Cave-dwelling people, a biblical period prior to the time of Abraham that inhabited the Dead Sea Scrolls in Eastern Mediterranean. These are the Hebrews. They're also known as Habarus. Watch this. Watch this. Take us back to you Hebrew Israelites. I hope they're watching. Horites are the worship. Watch what they worship. Worshippers of Horus.
Yes.
I'm gonna show you.
Yep.
I'm gonna show you. It's them right here. Hebrews. The Horites, the Semitic Hebrews, are the oldest known priest caste. Two groups represents the system, the two ritual groups who were served at the Sun Temple. That Sun Temple was also known as Heliopolis. And the god that they worshiped at that Sun Temple was known as On, O-N. And I can show you in the Bible where Joseph marries the daughter of the priest of On. So the Hebrews, stop playing games. Stop playing games.
Are you saying Mary is the daughter of On?
Mary who?
Who Joseph married?
No, Joseph. I'm talking about the son of Yahoo, the son of Jacob, Joseph. Not Joseph, not that Joseph, because you don't hear about Joseph after Jesus left Egypt. Joseph out the story, so Joseph don't even matter no more. That Joseph.
Okay.
I'm talking about the Joseph, the son of Jacob, right? The brother of Simon, Reuben, and Levi, right? Because Simon, Reuben, and Levi was the first three sons, what they call Ben Israel, the sons of Jacob, right? And Levi was the only one that got a portion of left Egypt. The sister just said they left with the oracle, but they also left with a portion of the readings. And the Levitical tribe formed their own priesthood. And that's why Jesus always had a beef or quarrel with those individuals called Sadducees and Pharisees, because they had their own law. And Jesus told them those are man's law. Y'all got this, that ain't the law of the Most High. But the point I'm showing y'all is the Hebrews are actually the Horites. And the Horites or the Hebrews were devout worshipers of Horus. They worship Horus.
Straight facts.
Right? The Horite right here. These are the mounds that they worship at. And that's why Moshe, here we go, the ancient priest who served the Sun Temple was called Abarus or Haparus, or the word is what? Hebrew. Y'all better stop playing with me and go read.
Now,
and stop
this is the important part of what the minister is breaking down. The history y'all thought y'all knew of this Bible ain't what you was. He is tearing the history that the way that the beast been teaching you from the pulpit. See, they've been teaching this Bible like some great love story we supposed to be involved in. He breaking down the criminality of all these people. Straight facts. All I could sit back and do is say thank you. I just want to interject some time and get some info in, but for real,
no, definitely, because
you really just changed the history. They would never believe that Hebrews would celebrate or worship Horus. That's beyond they can. They will only believe that they worship the Torah, only read the Torah.
But they got the Torah.
That is the
listen, they got the Torah the same place that Moshe got the commandments from. Out of Egypt. And that's why we're gonna talk about it later, but that's why Abraham had to go where? To Egypt. He offered up his sister, his wife, really was his niece. Sarah was his niece, okay, because he took his niece from his brother when his brother had died, and took his nephew Lot also. Let's talk about it and be honest with the shit. All right. So the ancient priests who served the Sun Temple were called Aparus or Haparus or Hebrew. Habiru. It was an Akkadic word at Abru, which means priest. The term Paru, right, refers to the house or temple, which was a dedicated to the high god whose emblem was the sun, or called Ohapru. And that's where you get the word from the pyramid, from pyro, lighthouse. Go read Genesis 20:17. Let's continue, because we won't get off that. Let's continue doing what we was doing. I just want y'all to point that. I just want to show y'all what time it is. Now we're going to go back and deal with the penal colony known as the God. Just write this down. The penal colony, as far as the Bible is concerned, the first one was the Garden of Eden. Okay, I'm just going to go through this for the sake of time, so we can get the sister going. The Garden of Eden was the first penal colony. The second penal colony to be established on the planet was set up by Christ Michael, also known as Melchizedek, or who y'all call Melchizedek. There were 5 different Melchizedeks. Okay, Christ Michael incarnate himself. Y'all don't think angels can incarnate themselves into humans?
Yes.
Let me show y'all. Because see, I don't want nobody to say what I said. Well, Miss said, no, I ain't say nothing. I'm gonna show y'all what the Bible say. Anytime I talk, I go to the book to let the book teach us. Watch this.
Yes.
The angels visit Abraham, and I'm gonna let one of it's Genesis 18. I'm gonna let one of y'all read it, because I don't want to think that I'm sitting here throwing no word magic. Let me right here. Let me blow it up for you so I can see it real big. 18.
Genesis 18, which one? You want to start the beginning?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Genesis 18, the Lord appeared to Abraham near the large trees of Mamre. Abraham was sitting at the entrance to his tent. It was the hottest time of the day. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. So he quickly left the entrance to his tent to greet them. He bowed low to the ground. He said, "My Lord, if you are pleased with me, don't pass me by. Let me get you some water. Then all of you can wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me get you something to eat to give you strength. Then you can go on your way. I want to do this for you now that you have come to me." "All right," they answered, "do as you say." So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah. "Quick," he said, "get about 36 pounds of the finest flour, prepare it, and bake some bread." Then he ran over to the herd. He picked out a choice, tender calf. He gave it to a servant who hurried to prepare it. Then he bought some butter and milk and the calf that had been prepared. He served them to the 3 men while they ate. He stood near them under a tree. "Where is your wife, Sarah?" they asked him. "Over there in the tent," he said. Then one of them said, "I will surely return to you about this time next year. Your wife Sarai will have a son."
Okay.
Sarah was listening.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on right there. Now, see, I want everybody, and I'm just gonna scroll while I'm talking. I want everybody to understand in this entire chapter right here, right? These 3 angelic beings come out. I don't think this is not the KJV version, but these 3 angelic beings came to Abraham. Now, one is going to stay with Abraham, continue to have a conversation about Sodom and Gomorrah. 2 of them are going to go ahead and go into the city. This is when y'all hear about the story about Sodom and Gomorrah turned to a pillar, because see, Sodom and Gomorrah was a penal colony set up by Abraham, but it was managed by Lot, his nephew. Okay, and Melchizedek gave the colony to Abraham because Abraham went to go sack those 2 cities and get rid of those 2 kings. And those 2 kings, one of those kings, I think his name was Raphael. He was the governor of Shinar. But prior to him being the governor of Shinar, Nimrod ruled the land of Shinar and the land of Babel. But that was under a different covenant. So Abraham comes in, sacks the city, takes 1/10 of everything, takes it back to Melchizedek, Christ Michael. Now, Melchizedek or Christ Michael is trying to set up a whole other penal colony called Jerusalem. There is no J yet. Okay, it's called Jerusalem, Yahweh, city of peace. And that's why sister said, yes, Yasini, that was Yahweh, city of peace, Jerusalem. Now, when Abraham comes back to Melchizedek, right? Melchizedek gives him that territory to govern. Melchizedek goes to his nephew Lot and asks Lot, do you want to work by the sweat of your brow? Or do you want to take the easy way? Lot chose the easy way, which was Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, those two angels, there's three. Two went into the city, one stayed. Two went into the house of Lot. Okay. The men in this is the story. The men in the city came to Lot's front door. They wanted those angels, they say. Lot offered up his daughters. He said, we don't want your damn daughters. We want those two angels. Right? Now, Abraham proceeds to have a conversation with the one at the tent who told him, when I come back next year, I'm gonna get your wife pregnant. The same way Gabriel showed up to Mary. The same way Gabriel showed up to what's her name? Mary's cousin, Elizabeth. I'm gonna show back up. Sarah heard it, and Sarah laughed. The angel heard her laugh, and that's how Isaac got his name Isaac. Okay, let's be clear about that. Now, the angel's talking to Abraham, and to Abraham, if you can go into that city and find me a certain amount of righteous people, I won't destroy it. Because this colony is fucked up. We gotta get rid of it. Abraham like, nah. I can find you 40. Couldn't find 40. I can find you 30. Couldn't find 30. I can find you 5 people. Couldn't find 5.
Right.
He said, well, listen, I know one, my nephew Lot, man. He's straight up. He's a good dude. And the angel says, well, get him out of there before we drop this atomic bomb on the city. That's why they turned to pillars of ash or pillars of salt, because it was an atomic bomb that had to destroy the colony.
Damn.
But because the colony was now destroyed, Lot and his two daughters, get Lot drunk. They have sex with Lot, and out of that womb of his daughters comes Moab.
Okay, but let's go back.
Go ahead, sister.
Let's go back. Lot was in and out of Sodom and Gomorrah as one of its wardens or governors or whatever. So we have to be aware when we're listening to that story, Lot was one of the few who was seen as not even worthy. He told Abraham to go get Lot. They wasn't going to really, they was going to go because he was the one that was overseeing that territory. They was really about to go wreck everybody, including Lot, because they were all corrupt. Who offers their daughters in the time of war? You have to understand these people are running open air penal colonies that are corrupt. Now, Sodom and Gomorrah, Sodom alone says the name, Sodom. Straight corruption, straight adrenochrome, straight whatever you want to call it. That's what they was doing. So we have to understand that. And I also want to hit on the part where these angels come back and always talk to these women who are infertile. So one of the reasons I wanted to bring that up is because Sarah tortured that other girl when she had that baby, that Sarah wanted her to force a surrogacy of her. See, these beings are unnatural. They don't have a natural female to their species. So they needed us to be surrogate mothers and hand over the children we have for them. And it's still going on. Otherwise, why does CPS exist except for us to give our children to them because there's something else? So when we listen to these stories, we have to understand that none of them were any good. Lot was no good because they came to wreck all of Sodom and Gomorrah, and they did. And as far as I'm concerned, Lot should have fell with them because look at the bestiality that they created when Moab was created when he slept with his daughters. Come on, and y'all claiming this? Y'all think this is a royal line to be a part of? I just want you to think about what you're reading.
And that brings me to my question of,
look at that, the surrogacy. They want us to surrogate their nation. This is what they came here for. They needed us to surrogate their nation. They cannot do this without us. They have no real moral foundation. They tear each other whole new asses. They need us for this. We are the surrogates of their nation. All we got to do is start stepping back, hands off. Look, the feminism movement wouldn't be shit without us. The civil rights wouldn't be nothing without the black. The black woman has instigated and done everything. Any being that ever wanted to survive, what they do, they come and suck on our tits. Sorry, minister, but just saying.
No. You good. You good. You good. You good. You are.
That's what they do, and we have to stop being a surrogate to this open air penal colonies, because that's what I was saying with the Statue of Liberty is. They firmly got the black woman in place, blindfolded, lights on. Y'all could come. We gonna feed all of y'all. No, I'm not no more. I want my breast back. I'm not contracted with that no more.
And minister, who is the Bible referring to as fuck? Not peasants. What's the other word? Damn it. What pagans? Pagans. Who are pagans?
Well,
is that the Hebrews?
No. Let me get let me hit a couple things real quick.
Okay.
First, the sister was talking about Sarah being vindictive to the sister. Hagar is what the Bible calls, but her name is Keturah. She was an Egyptian. You're going to see in a close assimilation with these so-called Hebrew Israelites and these Egyptian women. They keep their penises as an Egyptian coochie all the time. They love the Egyptians because that's their cousins. You know what I'm saying? And I say that point because before you get to the Israelites, who are the Jacobites, the Jacob children, his 5 baby mamas, before you get to Jacob, you got to get to Abraham. Before you get to Abraham, you got to get to Moshe. Do you not? Now, the flood, the biblical flood that happened, wiped out everybody. So who's left on the planet to repopulate the planet, the Bible says? You have Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Now, Ham and his children, which was Punt, the Bible says, Mizraim, and Cush. Mizraim and his family went to establish what we call today Egypt. They were called Mizrites. Then you had the Cushites, right? Then you had the Foothites, right? Now, out of that bloodline, you get a whole bunch of people. Then you have the Shemites and the Japhethites. Those are the progenitors that got you all the way down to Abraham to get you to Jacob. Those are his cousins. They're not different people. And the point we're making is the land that was given, the land that was stolen, the land that was taken, those territories were being established under a penal colony system. Biblically, penal colony system biblically, all the way to the time of 1860 in America. Same people, same bloodline, same individuals, same jokers doing the same shit. All right, let's talk about the Moabites. Okay, Moors, sorry to tell you, right? Moab is made in incest of his sisters and his daddy. That's where Moab comes from. Out of Moab, you get the Moabites, but then leads you to Ruth, the Moabitess, who the Moors say is the great grandmother of Jesus by way of Joseph. Well, we know Joseph wasn't even his dad in the first damn place. So that's a lie. Okay? Ruth gave up her nationality when she married Boaz. Boaz was a what? He was a Ishmaelite, not an Israelite, because he come from the bloodline of Ishmael, Jacob's uncle. And this whole thing is territorial. They're fighting over land. God said we get this land. Our Lord said we got this land by the bloodline. We got this land. We're going to take y'all land. We're going to condemn y'all. We're going to blow y'all land up. We're going to make y'all walk the trail of tears and take y'all land. This is what this shit is about, family. We're trying to put it together for y'all. Everything we're saying, every word we're saying intertwines to all the stories you ever heard, biblically or historically. It's the same situation.
So if you're going to use biblical scripts, then go ahead and use biblical names. If you're talking about the warden or the government, go ahead and call him Yahweh.
Well, shit. Let's take it there then. Okay, see, I didn't want to go there, but since we there.
So there's no confusion with us in the panel. and they're trying to keep things straight. But let's call it what it is.
Okay,
Let's call
well,
them biblical names.
let's go here because she just said Yahweh, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is what the Hebrews deal with. Elion.
Mm.
Elion is an epithet of the God of the Israelites in the Hebrew Bible, which is also known as the Torah. His name is Elion. Is usually rendered in English as God Most High. Now watch this, because in Arabic it's Allahu Akbar, but the proper way to say Allah is Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Same deity. Don't be duped. Don't be duped. Pay
Yep.
attention. Watch this now. Now we're talking about the Elohim. Oh, I'm sorry, the El Elyon, from which the term Elohim comes from, right? The term also maiden usage upper. That's what it means. Top, upper, referring simply as a position, object. Book of Genesis 40:17. To the chambers of Ezekiel. This is also spelled Elion. It's also pronounced Elion, Elion El. Watch the names, y'all. The
Yes.
compound name El Elyon, God Most High, occurs in Genesis 14:18 through 20 as the God who's his priest.
Melchizedek.
I just told y'all this. This is Christ Michael. Now pay attention.
Mm.
Christ Michael's was dispatched down to Urantia. From where? From the third heaven called Shemquel to establish a penal colony for the god. Let's try this story because this may be too much for y'all.
Oh, come on with it.
Because you done went off planet now with some of this.
I'm gonna stop and go this way right here.
Oh, keep preaching. Don't stop.
Let's go this way then. Let's talk about, because I'm saying you rancher. I'm saying let's go this way then. All right. Let's try Inke. Since y'all don't know who Elion is, let's try Inke. Y'all heard of Inke and Enlil. Let's try the story this way then, because now we're gonna talk about the Sumerian story, the same story I was just trying to explain to y'all, that these beings came down from Nibiru. And they're not from Nibiru. They're not from Nibiru. Okay? They come from a whole celestial body. Let me give y'all some numbers real quick, because y'all think I'm going crazy. Let me tell y'all where y'all reside at. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and peace be upon the prophet, he used to ask the question. He said, who is the original man? And the term that was given back to him was the Asiatic black man, the owner, the maker, the cream of the earth. I'm sorry, the cream of the earth and the father of this universe. How much does this planet weigh? What is the weight of the planet? 66 quadrillion tons preceding 13 ciphers. How many square miles of habitable land do we have? Over 172 million miles of habitable land. How many systems do we have in our galaxy? 10,000 systems. How many constellations do we have? 100 constellations. How many worlds do we have? 619. How many Urantia planets do we have? 606. How many installations do we have? 3,840,110,000. What's our system name? Nebudon. On the Insta, the Canis Minor planet. If y'all don't know that shit, don't talk. You have to listen and stop getting excited by Zachariah Stitcher talking about Nibiru. If I ask you, where's Nibiru located? What's the system is located in? If you don't say Nebudon, I know what you're talking about. If you never heard of Nebudon, this ain't gonna make sense to you. Islam, and you won't understand when I start talking about how Enki and Enlil was dispatched by their god or their father, El or El. El sent Enki and Enlil down to this planet to harvest materials such as gold, faucite, magnesium, quantanium silver, all kind of material that they don't have in their system to fix their atmosphere, the story goes. Okay, now Enki, who is one of the 5 creator sons. The 5 creator sons that we know are Michael, Israfel, Gardiel, Raphael, and Israfel. Those are the 5 creator sons that we know. The seraphim and the cherubim are not part of that system. Those are the 7. Those are the 7 creator sons of Allah, or the 7 creator sons of El, or the 7 creator sons of El Elyon. Two of them came down here or was sent down here to our star system, not to our planet. Inke sent Enlil to our planet with his sister Inki. They created a race of beings called the Adapa. The Adapa looked like Sasquatch. Zachariah Stitchens, not Zachariah Stitchens, Professor Leakey, Dr. Leakey in 1921 came across the cranial and the ribs of one of these Adapa. He called it Zenzenthropus. Go look it up. This is 2.4 million years old. This being, this Homo habilis, it wasn't a Homo sapien. It wasn't an upright walking being yet. Okay, these were Homo habilis, or what they call Africus robustus. Look this shit up. This is anthropology, people. Okay, now once he got the Adapa established, Inke and his sister Inki got the Adapas established, right? They communicated with them through what's called a Ankh. The original Ankh. It's not a fallopian tube in your, I'm sorry, sisters, it's not what it is. The original Ankh had a coil in the middle. It was a microphone because they communicated with the Adapa. Now, to make sure that this first colony was established, okay, which was under the intergalactic contract with the Sata Queens, okay, and the Sata Queens went to what's called Canis Minor and Canis Major, which are star systems, and they dispatched what were called the Dukes. The Dukes were the feudal lords of war. They came as the first lords, the military police, if you will. Then you had the Unkils, who were the bird-like creatures who came down here from planet Risk. Okay, so you got the Unkil, right? You have the Dukes, right? The Palladians don't come until 20 million years later. You don't get those people later. So this was the first establishment of the very first working colony, Earth, that the Adapa were laborers, slave laborers. Now, after they got what they needed, they left the planet, and the Adapa continued to evolve. They show you the evolution chart of these Adapas walking upright and becoming Homo sapiens sapiens, thinking man, the first black man. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asks you again, who is the original man of the planet? You were the original man of the planet. How did you get here, though? You can go to the Garden of Eden, that penal colony. You can go to the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, that penal colony. Or you can go back to the original penal colony, which was established by Inca and Enlil. Okay? I'm going to pass the mic, so you go ahead. I got it warmed up.
Quick question. Was that Ankh the equivalent of, say, like today's cell phone? Were they communicating with it?
It was a microphone.
So they were just broadcasting through it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, sis.
Can you move that information age sign so we can see sis when she go in?
I need somebody to Google all the things we mined in 2022 or 2021, whichever would give us the closest calendar of all the material that we mined in like 2022.
I think you spelled the wrong mind.
I did.
Google no.
Okay. And then we're also going to need a thing of the elements, the element chart. Because when you compare the elements chart, the periodic table that they gave you to learn, what they're really mining, you're going to learn that some of the stuff that they claim is coming out of the ground on that elements chart ain't even in that ground. Some of the stuff on that periodic table don't even exist until after they twerk it and do some kind of chemical reaction to it.
Damn.
So we have to be aware of the education that they've given us. They're telling us that everything on that periodic table comes from the the earth, and that comes from our body. But some of those things we can't even put in our body without killing us. So they're lying. What they're doing is mining our realm, like I said, because this is an open air penal colony. They're here to work. And we have things on this planet, like the minister just said, that they don't have. Okay. And then they have us participating involuntarily, believing that we're mining these things for our benefit, but we're not. We're mining it for their benefit, for the open penal air colony. Now, how much of this stuff off of this periodic table can we actually put into our bodies without harming ourselves? How much of this is natural resources that we actually get to use and create ourselves? See, and that's the thing about dealing with these open air penal colonies. They come in and usurp our natural resources from us and then tell us this is what they're mining under the guise that we're giving you this chart that says this all has to be mined in this realm to create all the things that you use: food, medicine, computers, housing. All of these materials help create the world that you see. But a lot of this shit is going off realm. Where? Because we can't use this. Uranium is poisonous. They put in deodorant. When you use it, what happens? You get lumps up on your arm. You start itching. You get cancer.
Yeah.
So they're lying to you. Titanium. Some of this stuff you can't even put on your body. So they're lying to you about the necessity of this chart is based on their needs and what they need to mine in this realm.
Mm-hmm.
See, be careful with these contracts and how they put it to us. And they put it to us in the guise of education. That's the contract. So they gave us a contract of education under the guise, you're going to learn this, and this is going to be helpful to you in your realm if you do these things. But it's not. None of this like this. Lithium is dangerous and explodes. They put it in batteries. Come on. We're not using, we're not putting what we see in front of us together to the 3D dimensional key to their education. Because under the guise of education, everything on here is important and you need it, even though some of this stuff can kill you like mercury with one touch. It might not kill you right away, but you're going to drop.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're giving us these keys for education or for work, because this is a key of education that they use and give us, right? And now it goes off into the work environment. If you're a scientist, if you're an engineer, or if you're a miner, if you're a doctor.
Right.
See, and this is the realm of the open air penal colony that we don't understand, that these are the veils that they use to blind us within this realm. Think about how much of this you can really take into your body or touch without causing harm to yourself. No, someone needs that, aluminum. And it's not from someone from here, because we know from experience we can't mess with it like that. Someone off realm needs that titanium. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what they're mining. They're using titanium oxide to help mine other elements.
Yeah.
So this is the science part that we don't get when we start breaking down their sciences along with their history. They're just here to mine this realm. That's it. Any education you've been given by these beings is so that you can mine your own realm for them. We've been given an empty contract, an accumulated contract that puts us in debt.
And where's protein on that chart?
Protein ain't gonna be on
I
here.
wouldn't even know how to break down protein.
It's not on here.
They
I'll
always
tell you
talk
something I
about
want to
these
break down,
proteins.
though. I'll tell you something that I want to touch on and break down real quick. That thing right there.
Yes.
Phosphorus. Phosphorus. And I'm going to show y'all. I think it's about 86% of the human body is made up of phosphorus.
Damn.
That's over half. Does anybody know what the word phosphorus mean?
Light.
Okay.
Proton. Light.
It also means Lucifer.
All right, we're gonna get a Jeopardy game going from part one.
Huh?
We have to do a Jeopardy game on part one.
Watch this now. Hold on.
Lucifer, the light bearer.
It's the light bearer. Lucifer, it says Lucifer, in fact, no profane or satanic name, right? Latin Lucifer, light bringer, the morning star, equivalent to the Greek phosphorus, and was Christian name in the early times, born even by one of the popes. Phosphorus, 86% of the human body is phosphorus, light.
Didn't
You are, go ahead.
didn't Jesus say that he also was the light bearer or light
Right,
bringer?
right.
How
Because
is that?
because
How
they
is
come
that
from
so?
they come from the same planet.
Well, then he wants to he wants to not be equated with them,
See
and then he's always hanging out with Satan,
who?
Jesus. He wants to not be equated with them, right? Yet he's telling you he's the light bearer, which is one of them. And
Let's
then
do
he's always, being tempted by his brother or Satan at the top of the mountain. Like, why is you hanging out with the one person that you want us to believe that you don't want nothing to do with because you're the opposite of him?
let me ask you this question, sis. And before you render the answer, think for a second. I want you to give me a number of people that Lucifer killed in the Bible.
Oh, I already got the answer.
Go ahead.
10. Job's kids.
Lucifer killed Job's kids. Where does the Bible say Lucifer killed anybody?
Listen, when God gave him carte blanche to do what you want to Job.
What chapter were you reading from? Because I want my Bible for
No,
that.
no, no, no.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna pull it
listen.
up for her. I'm gonna pull it
Listen,
up for her.
let me
Go ahead.
finish. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Job's kids was in a house drinking and playing cards, and he shut the walls down and crushed them inside.
Okay, I want to see this because we're gonna pull up the scripture first. The book of Job.
Okay.
God told Job you can't touch him, and he
He
did not touch him.
he said you can't touch him, but you can touch his kids, his fucking cattle, everything else you can touch, but not Job. And so he did.
Hmm.
And Job later got new kids. Listen, the reason I know this is because I'm doing the Drunk with Blood series that's telling all the people that Yahweh killed. And so in my count, I got Yahweh's killed 20 million mofos, and Satan's only killed 10, but the 10 that he killed was with Yahweh's blessing, and they were Job's kids. So yeah, we can go fact check that. The man himself don't lay a finger on, but
He
the
killed
kids
10.
are carte blanche.
I never have ever,
Right
ever,
there, right
never have
there.
seen.
One
I
day,
remember it said Satan. It didn't say Lucifer.
okay, right, and
Right,
with this,
right, right.
with
Well, to me, Satan and Lucifer are two different beings.
okay, so listen.
They
He
are.
asked who did Satan kill? How many people Satan killed in the Bible?
He said, "How many people did Lucifer
And
kill?" Because he
Lucifer
was talking
killed.
about Lucifer.
Okay,
Lucifer
well,
didn't kill
Lucifer
nobody.
is not even in the Bible. Is Lucifer even in the Bible? It's Lucifer.
Yes, he is. He is.
And they're calling him Lucifer and not Satan and not the devil. They're saying Lucifer in the Bible.
My Bible says Satan.
Okay, exactly. Because that's what Christianity is doing, making you think that they're all the same. It's the minister that's coming in telling us, no, they're not.
They're not.
It's at a higher rate than Satan. The Bible is only going to do Satan because that's who they want you to
He is.
fear.
He is.
Go ahead, minister. I'm sorry. You're mute.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay.
I had to get my Wi-Fi together. But what I was about to say was he didn't kill anybody. Now, the deity of the Bible, just the movie comes on, he killing people off the rip. was my point. And my other point was you have Lucifer, then you have Satan, right? And then you have what was called, it's called the Guardiel, right? Satan works for Lucifer. You have to remember,
Right.
Lucifer is still an angel. He still can go
Yes.
to heaven. All right. In the book of Ezekiel, he's set on the left hand of God. He still has a seat
Are
there.
they calling that Lucifer in the Bible?
That's
Are
who
they
he
calling
is.
it Lucifer?
I want to break up this for a second because I'm reading my Bible
Yes.
and it says that while they were speaking, that fire from God fell, not Satan, not God.
Are you talking about on Job's kids?
I'm
Yes.
talking about Job. It fell from the sky and burned up the sheep and the servants.
Okay, listen.
Lucifer don't have the authority to take lives, like I'm saying.
This is what Christians need to understand. Satan was minding his business all the time. It'd be God to look and find them like, hey, what are you doing? He'll tell them, just walking to and fro about the earth. Now the earth is his, right? Why is God down here fucking with Satan and then making a bet with him?
Right.
He said, have you considered my loyal servant Job? Satan didn't say nothing about Job. He's giving him his best man to tempt and fuck over.
Wow.
Thank you, Taz. Facts of God. You know it. You know how Philip. Listen, it said the fire of God. It didn't say Satan used God's power to kill Job. And you know how I feel that these guys are warmongers. They're senators, governors, wardens.
Yeah.
So if it was Satan, why is it the fire of God?
Because
if God entrusted his people to have faith, why would he weaponize the very being that he knows will hold firm against him?
And this is my whole deal. This is my whole deal. This is the whole deal with Yahweh. Yahweh don't just commit murders. Sometimes he get other people to do it and he helped them along.
Yeah, he do.
That's why there's so many murders. 20 million murders in the Old Testament is because the ones that he didn't do himself, he told other people to do, and he set the traps and like hardened Pharaoh's heart, so it didn't work out. And then he was like a trickster.
Right. So this God that when you read Job, it's really disturbing. Like, I don't want that to be my God. Like, I'm already doing good. Why do you have to set me up to prove I love you so?
And check it out. You know what Christians gonna say? Well, he got all that back because God blessed him tenfold, right? He didn't get them kids back, not them same ones.
You can't get that back. You cannot get your star seed back.
So listen, let me move the conversation in a different direction and ask you when you say the term open air penal colony.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who are the subjects of the colony, and who are the ones oppressing the subjects of the colony? What say ye?
Citizens are the subjects of the open air penal colony. And the ones that keep it in force and in play are the mayors, the senators, the governors, the presidents. They all have the so-called police is their military to help keep them in line. Remember back in the day, I was saying a lot of people worked. And if you wanted to go on vacation, you gave that to your employer. Now, those of us who are advanced enough have studied enough to know that the employer is really the slave master or the overseer of the plantation of that master. What do? You give in your time, your paper, because you've worked so long, you're due for a vacation. And you get the vacation approved. So now when you want to leave out of the open air penal colony, you have papers to prove you earned your time out of the colony. See, they're all here to oppress us. There is nobody that is here to help us. There's no judge, no lawyer, no solicitors, none of that. They're all here to keep us in play in the open air penal colonies, period.
and Goddess, let me remind you of a subject that we frequented a couple of days ago, and it was about Satan. And
Mhm.
Taz just put it down there on the Taz show. He says Satan equals the adversary, Lucifer equals the bearer of light. So people are equating Satan with Lucifer as the same people. We are being shown that they are not the same people. However, we want to stick to this word adversary because that's the one you and I dwelled on. Okay.
Right.
So you said that Satan is the adversary of God or Yahweh or whatever, right? I said, can anybody be an adversary, or is it just Satan who's the adversary?
Okay,
Because
so check this out. We have to realize when we're talking about Job, we're talking about a penal colony.
yes,
Okay. So obviously, Satan is someone's emissary, which means Job's enemy. And the God that Satan was talking to was Job's master, and whoever he worked for. Job was running his penal colony. Okay. So whoever Satan is in this story, he wants that contract because Job is set up nice. He's wealthy, right? He's doing real good under his penal colony contract.
yes,
Okay. So Satan wants that contract. What happens when somebody wants your natural resources? War begins to happen.
yes.
Okay.
That makes the whole
Penal colony of Job survived what Satan was doing to him, which only
girl.
was strengthened the contract he already had with his
Mhm.
warden, senator, governor, whoever they are. So we have to realize that these are plays for contracts for open penal colonies. Job is not just some man with a family. He's a rich, open penal colony whose contract is solid. Whoever that Satan is, he want in on it.
So
And see, you got to realize, let me put this out. The same thing happened in Genesis. Cain slew Abel because whenever they were doing the rituals for God, God was accepting of Abel's sacrifices, right?
mhm.
But he wasn't accepting of Cain's. What did he tell Cain? He said, if you would just follow the law, everything would be all right. Didn't Cain go follow the law and slay Abel? Was he punished? Was he murdered? No. So that's what happened. This Satan put a challenge to the God and said, I want that contract now. And I'm willing to do what it takes to get rid of Job to get that contract. He too wealthy. We want that.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? But we don't see it like that because they're always teaching us as this one love story or 101. And these are contracts.
Mm.
Where you got other beings want to usurp beings that's already doing good in a contract. Where was Job living? What was he doing? So you got to really read the story of Job. He
Right.
was wealthy for a reason. He was mining those natural resources in that area. Really read Job.
He was wealthy because he was a governor. He would have been a governor.
His contract was solid.
And the warden threw him under
Satan
the bus.
wanted that contract. Pay attention to what's really going on. They're
The
talking
warden threw him
about
under the bus. The warden threw him under the bus all the time, pretending like he loved Job. That's why he wouldn't let Satan hurt Job himself. But he was like, you can fuck the rest of his shit up, though.
right.
Let's check it out.
Because go ahead, Goddess.
Oh my God. So either this warden is playing both Satan and Job for some reason, maybe because he's just an evil dick. But there was no reason because he went and got him. In the story, as the allegory goes, God or Yahweh is the one who approached Satan about Job. Satan never said shit. He was like, "Oh, have you considered my Job? Considered in what?
Right.
Why he's so in love with you? Because you give him everything,
Or maybe he felt like Job was getting lazy and needed a little challenge, and that Satan was there to challenge that.
Point of order. So I'm over
Go
here
ahead, Minister.
because y'all listen. First of all, y'all going the fuck in, and I'm saying, listen, like, yes, yes, go get it, get it. I'm over here reading the comments. A lot of great stuff over in the comments, and I love I got people, on my joke,
Okay.
man. Everybody's educated. Everybody, in on what's going on, and there's a conversation going on about. It said Cain. This is Taz. Actually, the Cain and Abel. Excuse me, Cain and Abel. He says, Cain and Abel story is not what we think. Cain and Abel had twin sisters, and Cain wanted to marry Abel's twin sister, and God said no, but he still did, and God rejected his seed or offering. Makes sense. I've also heard that story as well. I also heard
Look
the same
how
thing.
deep.
When Cain killed Abel, Adam stayed in the cave with his dead body for weeks, and his sister had to come and let him know had to come and let Adam know that Eve was pregnant with his other child, Seth. He came out the cave with the dead body and to go see Seth being born. Another variation is Cain and Abel are not even Adam's kids. That's why the Bible says when Eve had Seth, the Bible says now Adam had a child unto his own likeness. Because Seth was his child. His second child was Enos. But see, Cain and Abel got to understand Cain, Abel, Adam, and Eve were etheric beings. They did not exist in the flesh. They saw God. They talked to God. God walked in the garden with them, had a conversation with them. It was when it got to Enos. Enos was the first one to pray to God because God hid himself from man at that point. Okay. So Cain and Abel are not the seeds of Adam. They are the seeds of Yahweh. And Yahweh put jealousy in the heart of Cain. Cain, for all intents and purposes of the conversation, was a vegan. He brought the Most High plants and berries and nuts because God said in Genesis chapter 2, the nuts and the berries and the plants to be for the healing of the nations. Okay? It was Abel bringing him slaughtered raw meat, slaughtered bloody meat, and pouring, because there was no sacrifice at the time. So the deal that the Most High had with Abel was to bring raw meat. Cain was like, I'm not bringing you no fucking raw meat. I'm going to bring you these herbs and these vegetables. So Cain was a vegan, and Abel ate meat because Cain and Abel was from his seed, from the Most High seed. That's why the Most High told Eve, put enmity between the two seeds. I'm going to put enmity between your seed, your children, and your children. Right? At that point in time, there was no Enos. There was no Seth yet. Right? Enos and Seth came after that situation. So the Most High is having a conversation with the serpent about children. Whose children? His children. The children that he bore with Eve. Now, can God have sex with a woman and have a baby? That's where Jesus came from, didn't it? According to the scripture, that's where Jesus came from. He came from the ancestral sex between a lady and a god. See, the Bible is telling y'all a planetary battle between gods and demigods over the plantation called Earth. And that's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked you the question, how many square miles of land is on the planet? That's how much they want to conquer. They want to conquer all 178 million square miles of inhabitable land. Now I'm going to show you something else. This introduces the next part of the penal colony. So we don't lose the congregation. Because I know we can go all night with this right here. Because I love it.
We said we was gonna have to make a series out of it.
Oh, it's gonna be a part 3. So go and get it set up and ready. Let's talk about this plantation because I'm from Georgia. So I can talk about my colony and the colony that I live in. Okay. All right. So this is the establishment of the Georgia colony, 1732, 1750. Now, let me set the story up real quick. We in the 1700s, family. Okay, this is not 1776 quite yet. We haven't reached the Revolutionary War yet. Okay, so there is no United States right now. So when we make the remark, who was the first president of the United States, we have to be all wise, right, and correct and understand there was no United States at that point. So, for all intents and purposes, the first Black president of the United States Corporation is Barry Sorrento. I'm sorry, y'all call him Barack Obama. Barack Obama, y'all call him. His name
What?
is Barry. His name is Barry Sorrento. Okay,
No
and
John
Barry,
Hanson?
no, listen to what I'm saying. The first Black president of the United States Corporation was one Barack Hussein Obama. The first Black president of the Continental Congress was one John Hanson. The first Black president of the Virginia colonies was one John Hanson. The first Black president of the United States Corporation was Barack Obama. So we have to understand what we're talking about when we say, well, the first Black president of the United States, we're talking about a corporation. At that point, the colony had incorporated. And this was the big quarrel in 1776 with the motherland, Europa, or Europe, y'all call it. See, Europa set up territory over here, or colonies over here, after Spain. See, Spain had already set up penal colonies already. See, Spain set up penal colonies after Christopher Columbus came over in 1489. I thought it was 1492. No. He came in 1489 on a scout ship. He came back in 1492 with the Nina de Pinta de Santa Maria. They came back with the army. The second time he came back, he made 2 trips. And the second time he came back in 1492, he had Ponce de Leon with him. And Ponce de Leon went to what's called now Boyquano, or what y'all call Puerto Rico, and he became the governor of Puerto Rico colony. And he came into Florida and set up St. Augustine to set up the colony in St. Augustine. See, Spain been over here since the 1400s when De Soto and Cortez went through what we call today Texas. Okay, so let's be clear about what's going on. And when the reason they came over here in 1489, because in 1491, Queen Isabella and Ferdinand, under the House of Castile and Aragon, okay, into what was called the Intercaterra Covina. And the Intercaterra Covina set up territories or gave them rights under contract, under Admiralty law. And Admiralty law under what's called the Spanish Inquisition, which they set was called the Spanish, look it up, Spanish Armada, the biggest fleet in that time. They had many boats and vessels which didn't belong to them. It belonged to the Moors because this was Moorish territory. Okay, this was also a Moorish penal colony. Sorry, it was what it was. That was big time money over here. And before that, this was an Egyptian colony. They just found it out right now in places in the Midwest. Like, oh shit, yes, you can walk through the Grand Canyon and go to Africa, nigga. Yes, they're pyramids, because this was one big ass vast estate. This was a realm. See, this realm from what we call Mauritania, North Africa, Spain, all the way to Khalifa, which y'all call California, all the way down to South America. Okay, y'all seen the Olmec head? This was one big realm. Now up north, that realm, Denmark, Sweden, and that cold territory is another realm. I can show you who that realm belongs to also. This was the realm that in 1940 and 1941, when the Greys and the Palladians came back and made the deal with Nazi Germany under the Gestapo with the Satar Queens to get Hitler to reinvent or take the mitochondrial DNA from the Alpine and the Nordic people to reinvent the original Nordic people, because they believed in Beowulf, and they believed in Odin and Thor, because they come from that galaxy. They don't come from the realm we come from. They're trying to go back to that realm. So this realm and this territory, this is an old war. This shit is eons old. By the time we hear about it, we don't even get the story of Spain conquering and setting up colonies in America. We don't get that story. We get the story of Britain coming over here. By the time Britain got involved, the shit was almost over with. They got involved like the last 60 years of the shit. They had exhausted people over here. So let's get to this real quick. 1732, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, Florida, it's all one big pile of dirt. Y'all do know that there are no lines. Those lines are invisible. Those are called demarcation lines. The word demarcation and the word Ethiopia means the same thing, something divided. They divided the lands and they created different states or territories. Now they're coming off the water, off the admiralty law, and they're coming on the land. And the law of the land is that they can invoke certain contracts under ecclesiastical authority under the Pope. Now, why ecclesiastical authority? Because their God from up there gave them dominion over this down here. That's the first thing God said. Let's give them rulership and dominion over the fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, the air. Let's give them the entire colony to rule. Inke and Inleo. Let them rule the entire penal colony on earth. And from time to time, individuals will show up to try to conquer these different colonies. And y'all got to fight to keep these colonies in check. Let's talk about the labor force real quick of these colonies, because this is where we come in at, is so-called Negroes, Black, and Coloreds. Establishing this Georgia colony in 1732. We're talking about a man by the name of James Oglethorpe. James Oglethorpe set up contract. He was issued an edict from British Parliament. The first year Georgia was established was 1733 as a settlement. They built lands and houses along the coast of what's called today Savannah, and down there was called Spanish Florida. All right. Now, the capital today, the capital of Georgia used to be Savannah. At one time, it was going to be Augusta. After the Reconstruction, nothing got built. Sorry, they didn't build shit. They reconstructed history. After the Reconstruction, Atlantis or Atlanta became the capital city because what they found in the ground of Atlanta. For those of y'all who've been to Georgia, who know about, y'all do know that Stone Mountain, that Quartz Mountain, runs all the way under Atlanta. Atlanta is a, man, let's keep going. Y'all ain't ready for that shit. Let's keep talking. So James Oglethorpe, right, sent his son, because here, this was a dilemma. Setting up the Georgia colony, they had issues with the Yomacraw Indians, the Yamasee Indians, the Coweta Indians, and later the Seminoles who joined forces. The Seminoles was an amalgamation of the Yomacraw, the Yamasee, the Wichita, and the Geechee Gullah had joined forces along with the Miamians, which is a tribe, not a city. They joined forces to keep, they came back into the state of Georgia, wasn't then, but they were burned down these European villages and houses because they was coming onto the land, trying to conquer the land and set up the land as a colony or a penal colony. The ones that they captured, they put them to what's called labor camps, and they worked the dog shit out of them. Later, they retell the history. Oh, that was a plantation. It was a fucking work camp. Those were prisoners of war. Those were POWs, the ones they captured. So they continued to do this for a couple years. Finally, James Oglethorpe sent his son, Robert Duval, and Colonel Andrew Jackson went into Florida territory, which is Spanish territory, and they burnt down the entire fucking fort called Fort Negro, killing women and babies. After they did that, to commemorate the good job that Colonel Andrew Jackson and Robert Duval did, they set up that entire colony. Now, a county, the word county means conquered territory. Robert Duval established what was called Duval County in Jacksonville, Florida. So Jacksonville, Andrew Jackson. Duval, Robert Duval. See, what these Europeans would do as they went through the United States, conquering different plots of land, turning that shit into a penal colony, putting laborers on the land to forage the resources from the land and to make them rich. They would establish manors or cities, and these cities were territories for which citizens, which would bound themselves under a number system, a penal number system called zip codes and area codes, okay? And the only way that these citizens could become active members of the city, they had to become registered members of the community. Now, they were governed by mayors, and the mayor worked for the governor, and the governor worked for the president. And the president had his crony called a senator, who would tell the governor what to do with their citizens. Hey, we need 9 million votes. Talk to the governor of Georgia, the governor of Alabama, and the governor of Mississippi. Get y'all people in order. Get those slaves in line and tell them they got two choices, red or blue. That's all they got. Okay? Red or blue. And here's how the manipulation comes into place with these established colonies. From the day you were born, from the time you were born, every hospital belongs to the state. Every state got about maybe 4 or 5 private hospitals. But private hospitals, you got to be somebody to somebody. You would never see the governor in your hospital for no reason. The fuck you talking about? This hospital is trash. So the hospital is in cahoots with the state. The minute that you come out of the womb, which you break the water and you are born, they say, right? The hospital gives the mother a piece of paper, a contract, which is known as a birth certificate. The birth certificate now bounds you as a ward. I told you earlier, write that word down. You become a ward of that nation, a ward of that colony. Now, as a ward of that colony, you are born with a certain amount of debt. From the time your child is born, it's about $86,000 of debt attached to that certificate. In order to track that individual to make sure that they're working and they're doing a good job, which the word job means burden, job means burden, they track them under what's called a SSN, or a social security number. Some of y'all know this shit already. You're being tracked on how much work you do, because anytime you go to apply for a job, your signature that you sign is worth more than the company, in case you didn't know that. The signature you sign is now a binding agreement that you will work and you will produce a certain amount, but they're going to take out what's called taxes. Taxes are known as tariff. Now, the tariff tax goes over to the founders of the colony. Who are the founders of America? Europe. We have to pay them tribute. If you work, if you pour concrete, you work at McDonald's, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a chef, a cook, or entrepreneur, whatever you are, you have to pay booty, they call it. Booty or tariff back over to them. In order for you to work on this land that we own, nigga, you got to pay us to do that shit, okay? And here's the manipulation when it comes to slavery ending, with some of you Negroes who think slavery ended, and a lot of you who are going to be celebrating Juneteenth this year. Let's get that straight real quick. You're all bound under contractual law. There are 3 laws that these Europeans have conquered that we have fell out of. And those 3 laws are universal law, natural law, and canon law. Every dark-skinned Negro right now, in the sound of my voice, most of you are outlaws. You are out of contract with universal law. What you mean by that? A lot of us are trying to come back into the folds of contractual law with the universe by tapping in, by being conscious, by being woke, by wearing stones and coppers. We got a long way to go, but we're getting there. That's why a lot of you are right now under the sound of my voice are paying attention, and you're here. It's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and you're here listening to me rather than watching sitcoms. Because a lot of you, as the scriptures say, by the sound of our voices, me and these angelic beings talking to you are warning you before the great and dreadful day. This is your warning. This is what Yeshua al-Mashiach tried to do, right? This is what the Prophet Muhammad salam tried to do. This is where Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali tried to do. Honorable Marcus Garvey tried to wake you niggas up with the information. We're going to keep being reincarnated, coming back. Me and these sisters going to keep. Y'all see our etheric beings. Y'all don't even see who we are for real, because our image is being projected and pixelated through these crystal lenses y'all call a TV. or a cell phone. They're diluting our image right now as we look. We're glowing. Sister Yasin got all the lights off. You still see her.
I'm not coming back.
We are glowing, and we are giving y'all the information, families. Let's continue real quick. So the Georgia colony is now established by James Oglethorpe.
Oh, shit.
So the Georgia colony, Georgia finds out we have a lot of resources. This is what the sister was saying earlier. Georgia has a lot of resources. And as they're finding out these resources in Georgia, who's going to work these lands to get these resources out of here?
I want to tap in on that.
Please.
So you know that they sent their own colonies over here, right?
Yeah.
But now they realize there are more resources than they got people to mine them.
Way more.
This is where the compulsion to force our people under the open penal colony contract comes in, because we were never part of that open penal colony construct. That's them. That's why they sent them over here in boats. Like they said, find the ships where they sent Africans over here.
They're not going to find them because it never happened that way.
So now that they're over here, they realize, whoa, this land got way more resources than we have people to mine them. That's where the greed came in. They were already greedy when they got here, because you have to realize whenever they make samples of the maps of our realm, the realm that's getting jacked up the most is usually the smallest realm. But y'all here. Why are they here? Because we can't be that small, because our resources are boundless. Let me tell you something that I noticed about this realm. I have neighbors from India. I have neighbors from Africa. I have neighbors from a pretty good gist, depending on where they stay at, right? And I would see them like buying these houses and fixing them up or doing whatever. And I would ask them, are you going to use some of the reuse? No, you know what they're doing? They ain't just sending money back to their homeland, to their family. They're sending everything that they tear out of these houses back to their homeland, which makes me wonder, if Africa is so great, why are my natural resources of America going to Africa? If India is so great, why are those people not only sending their money back home, but the toilets that have already been made? I mean, secondhand stuff. Like they'll go to what's called Habitat for Humanity and go buy secondhand homemade, stuff that's been ripped out of houses or never sold, and they send that to India or Africa. So if their resources are so great and they have all of this, why are resources from this country the people ain't shit, but these resources, not only is the money going out of the country, so are the natural resources. Where are these natural resources coming to? And that's another thing. They want you to think that this dollar ain't nothing, but that's a lie. Why do you think the immigrants are still coming? They ain't coming here to live. It ain't as bad over there as they make you think. They come over here because they send the dollar back home. If the dollar was that bad, why are they coming over here to work for the dollar to send it home and these other natural resources? So somebody's lying to us about our economy, and somebody's lying to us about our natural resources, saying we live in scarcity. They want the natural beings to believe there's a scarcity over here, while everybody else in the world is coming over here getting down on our natural resources and our fake ass fiat dollar. Something in this story don't look right. Something in the news they projecting ain't right.
You're absolutely correct. And I want to point this out for the brother right here. Future Vision said, "There's so much gold on the coast of California, Georgia, Peru, Mexico, etc. We have the most in the Americas, hand down. Africa just keep getting extorted." That's absolutely correct. Let's be clear about this, y'all. Let's be clear about it. The Americas got way more. The Americas have way more resources. Matter of fact, at one point in time, did y'all know that 3 little territories between Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi provided 87% of the world's cotton? All of the cotton came from these 3 little territories. That's just one of the resources.
That's right. You can't tell me we ain't that. And now what we don't understand is that we are the original natural resources, because now they mining us.
Yes.
And that's the other thing I wanted to add on, that I had put that on my Instagram page and on my Facebook page, because Yasini put the Ecto Life thing on her page, and I said that was the Eve seed surrogacy.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So now we have not only them mining our natural resources and our so-called fake fiat dollar, they're mining us. We have the largest amount of blood banks in the country, in our communities,
And the hood.
in the hood. And the people that need whole blood transfusion is not receiving them, even though we're giving up whole blood. Where's the whole blood going to? They separate your plasma, your white cells, your T cells, your red cells.
Mm-hmm.
Your plasma is being used to make a lot of these components and being used on a lot of these experiments. So we have to
plasma is being sent to Sweden.
we're being mined also. Uteruses, gift, name it. We're being mined just like the rest of the realm. For every mineral being mined, we being mined. I'm sorry, go ahead, Goddess.
Yeah, I gotta jump in. Go back to that article you just set up, Minister.
Oh, the one about
the last Google that you had up about Georgia. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Oh, then I had changed it. Hold on, gotta find it again because I went to the I was going to something else real quick.
Okay. Never mind. I remember what I wanted to see. There was a word on there about antebellum.
Oh yeah.
I want to say, did you guys see that movie called Antebellum?
Yeah.
Okay. That should shock the fuck out of every Negro in this land.
Yeah.
Just that movie. They literally, Salima, did you see Antebellum? Okay, so check it out. In a nutshell, they were finding consciously aware, business savvy Negro women specifically, although some men came too. They were kidnapping them, literally. They were kidnapping them, driving them to this place that was slavery all over again. It was slavery, the real fucking slavery, with your white motherfucking massa, them doing slave labor, and it's growing. It's a lot of them out there picking cotton, doing whatever and shit. You know, you're in 1 minute you're in the U.S. and you're thriving and you got a family, you're going to work, you're making that money, you're living life as it should be, and then next moment you're kidnapped and taken to a slavery camp, right?
Now
every day they stay on this camp.
Back on you.
And then the head actress, at the end, she was able to break out of it, and then it was like they were clapping and all and shit, but nah, bitch. You kidnapped me and put me on a plantation, beat me, raped me, just like it was slavery days.
I don't want to watch that.
Oh, Salima,
I have no interest in watching that.
The way they did it was so conniving and cunning.
Okay, let me jump in real quick. What we have to be conscious of, people, is, oh boy, so much. The people that are writing these stories and writing these movies, they're implanting this stuff in our head, right?
Yes.
We have to slow down, stop watching Antebellum and 12 Years a Slave and Roots and all this crazy ass nonsense, and ask yourself a question. This is the question. We have to scrutinize and analyze. Why are they still showing us movies 323 years supposedly after the fact something happened to us? Why are they still showing us these? Will Smith got a movie called Emancipated, and we got to see the slave movie. We don't know what the word emancipate means. Emancipate means a transfer of property because you was contractually put under the contract under what's called General Order Number 3. I can show you General Order number 3, Juneteenth, motherfuckers who want to celebrate Juneteenth.
Check it
Okay.
out.
Matter of fact,
If
let's pull it up.
if
Let's
we
pull it up.
don't continue to be aware of the depth of the scandalous ass governors or the people who run in the penal colonies, they are treacherous and they're always doing stuff to us. It seems like this is the longest time that we haven't been literally fighting them in some war, writing up some treaty. Like
But
they
we
never
are.
left us alone for real.
But we are. Let me explain to you. But we are. We are. We're contractually bound because this is their land, y'all.
Yes.
I know all the Indian, my mama India. Right. Yeah, right. I get it.
Yeah.
But you got to go to their school and you paying their taxes and you working at their jobs and you trying to be an entrepreneur, girl.
Right, because they've got this hold on us.
No, they don't.
They
No, they
stole
don't.
our
No, they don't.
No,
That's
they
all,
don't. And see,
that's
that
the
that
other
is
penal
the thing
colony.
that keeps us in the system.
Yes, that's mental
Because
slavery.
we don't understand that no one can make a contract with a baby, first of all. Anybody that issues a baby a bond is breaking natural law. See, we're learning this stuff so we can let it go. Because
that's the first thing.
Thank you.
So we can let it go and cause it to not repeat itself.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't even exist. It doesn't exist. I'm gonna tell you how it doesn't exist. This is all fictitious. This is all make-believe. And because of the amount of melanin, the amount of neuromelanin in your brain, we dream at a higher propensity, we imagine at a higher propensity. I can sit here right now and tell you a whole entire story about some alien came down here millions of years ago, and this alien made 2 other aliens. Matter of fact, he took one alien and took one alien rib and created another alien. And from those aliens, they spliced genes and DNA, and they pushed water on everybody and drowned a whole bunch of people. But 4 of them aliens survived, and from those aliens, they had 12 other aliens. And I can tell you a whole alien story. And while I'm telling you that alien story, and then this one super alien, he's coming back to save all the fucking aliens who are not even from the first place. And then you believe that shit. And then you give up adoration and adornment to this idealism of something because of our imagination. We have a vivid imagination. Black people are the scariest people on the planet. They got us scared to go outside in the dark now because of Freddy Krueger and Jason and Chucky and Gremlins and this and that. And that shit don't even exist for real. That's how jacked up we are mentally. And that's the other penal colony that we'll talk more about in part 3. The pineal colony, which is also a penal colony of the mind. The prison of the mind.
That's right.
Right.
They use that AI to imprison the mind.
Shit does not exist. They got you thinking that Saturn and Star Trek and Star Wars and
It's
they
not.
They got all kind of cameras and they ain't showed you nothing about nothing nowhere else but here.
What about trafficking?
Human trafficking been going on. It ain't gonna stop. It's gonna continue to go on. They got to feed them aliens on the ground. So the aliens, they like human blood. This is what it's part of the contract they got to do. They've been doing that since the time of Yakub. So that they ain't going nowhere. Let's be clear about that.
Okay.
That ain't gonna go nowhere.
So I'm talking about that same kind of fear that snatches that young girl from the bus stop because it's 5 a.m. in the morning and still dark. That same thing we had one in Milwaukee. Her name was Alexis Patterson.
Okay,
Never seen her again.
Stop, Yassini. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That is the contract with fear. That's what my book was about. We're contracting with empty accumulate. Fear is an accumulative contract. You give it all your time.
The ones that happen, though.
Really, what has it done to you? What has fear done for you? And that's what those stories are about. It's an empty accumulative contract, and it's their job to keep pumping out fear. That's like what the minister was saying. They're going to keep pumping out these slave movies to keep us mentally.
Okay, I'm talking about a real human named Alexis Patterson from Milwaukee, who her father took her to work, took her to school. Her father drove her to school and walked her to the door. That bitch, that story, because she was a girl, she still came up missing. And this was like 20 years ago. To this day, people in Milwaukee are still wondering whatever happened to Alexis Patterson. That's the name
Right.
that you can go look up, a real person. So
No,
those
no,
things
right.
are still happening.
They're still happening. The trafficking of human beings will never stop happening.
No, it won't.
And just like we're talking about her right now, there's another 200 people who don't know who the fuck she is and don't care who she is. That's the point I'm making. There's another
No,
people
no
who,
offense, but we don't,
yeah,
because I don't know who she is.
yeah.
Those
I'm
are
not
distraction
saying,
stories to me.
I'm not saying
Those are
nobody.
distraction stories to me, to distract our people.
Right. We're not going to be
I'm
bound.
sorry,
It is,
but
except
go.
No,
if your
you're
kid
fine.
goes to school with Alexis
But we're
Patterson,
not going to be bound.
then
What
it
we're not
probably
going to
hits a
do.
little closer
What
to
we're not
home.
going to do is
Could have
allow
been them.
anything to control us through fear mongering. Okay.
That's fear mongering. We can't get on that page with you.
That's the news. They're
Yeah.
going to report that.
We already know about human trafficking.
Whether the sister got kidnapped.
Our point is that we need to bring this information to our people so they will no longer be victims of this system. They will no longer be victims of the usury of that this system uses on us. So when you get reports like that, it is to distract you from the studying that you're supposed to be doing to get out of this system mentally, physically, and soulfully. Period.
And that's how they're going
Because
to
I don't know
Definitely
those.
not distracted. I do have all kinds of conversation pieces, though. I do. I delve and dive in all kinds of communications. I'm not scared. I don't have fear.
But what we're saying is that's a part of the tactic. That's
when
a
you
tactic.
even bring it up.
Whether it's true or false, it's a tactic. It's a tactic. That's no different from watching scary movies. It's no different. They're going to continue to report today. 3 young ladies was missing, kidnapped. You're like, oh shit, and then what happens is that fucks with you, whether you realize it or not. That creates a PTSD. COVID. Let's talk about COVID. Let's talk about the bug that had everybody in their goddamn house like it was a bug out in the sky just swarming around. You could have went outside.
No,
they told you to stay home, not stay in the house. People stayed in the house. Didn't go out. They did not go outside. They made Lysol and alcohol $1 billion due to fear mongering. Did people die for complications of the virus? Yes, they did. I had a close friend of mine pass away from it.
But so the worst part is the worst part of that COVID thing was that if you have read your Lysol can, no matter how old it was, it would have told you it couldn't stop COVID. Now, how did Lysol know about COVID 2-3 years before it even came out?
And COVID didn't scare me. I didn't wear a mask.
And it was on the Lysol can.
I did go out.
Now, did I come up with the flu? I had the flu. That's what it was. It was a flu bug. Everybody got the flu. When that shit came out, everybody forgot about the random colds. Like, you do get colds every now and then. Did people with weak immune system pass away from complications? Yes, they did. But who came to talk to us 4 years before that shit dropped? Did not Dr. Sadie show up? Hold on. Did Dr. Sadie show up 2-3 years before this shit hit to tell y'all what to start eating, get your body right, to get that mucus out your body? He did. Right? I told y'all. They're going to keep. The beings are going to keep sending people like us to warn y'all. If y'all don't want to listen, then don't listen. It's okay. Go somewhere and die. If you want to go ball up in the corner and be scared, we'll throw a blanket on you and bring you 3 meals a day. Stay your ass in the corner and stay scared. We'll go fight the fight. But see, this right here requires a different kind of energy. Because see, those creatures, those beings, those negroids who y'all call white folks, they harp on that because they know they ain't got no real power. So they have to do what the devil do, which is fearmonger. Once they get you scared and see that you were afraid, they got you. Okay, you kidnap one of mine, I'm gonna kidnap 10 of yours. Okay, you kill one of mine, I'm gonna kill 10 of yours. They don't want that energy. That's the kind of energy you gotta have. That's the kind of energy Chief Turner had. Chief Turner, that's who he was. He was the last chief Indian of the Natchez out of Suffolk, Virginia. Well, no uprising, no rebellion. No, this is the energy we had. You know what Nat Turner said when he told the people what we're about to do? He said, everybody that's scared, step up. A couple people stepped up, he killed their ass. We don't want no fear motherfuckers on our team. If you got any kind of fear, get off my channel right now, because this is the kind of people we breeding over here. Yes, things are happening to us every single day. And this is why we got to fight back. Like I said, they kidnap one of ours, you snatch 10 of theirs. And that's kind of energy you got to bring. Oh, you going to take the young lady from the bus stop? Next time I see 2 or 3 of yours, small, 6, 7, 4, I'm going to go by the school and snatch it for them motherfuckers. And that's how we going to play. But see, we got to understand that fear mongering, it controls us. It have us watching movies like Antebellum and 12 Years a Slave and Roots and all that shit, thinking that, damn, man, we were slaves, we were beaten. Y'all
And
don't
that's a
even
lie.
know.
More than half of that is
lies. They don't even realize that they didn't start lynching niggas to after slavery. They didn't start lynching niggas to after slavery. Watch this. They did not start lynching to after slavery ended, supposedly. They didn't start the lynching to after. It's just put in movies for dramatics. You don't lynch. You won't. I just paid $5,000 for both of y'all to go where I'm not gonna lynch y'all. Yeah, shit, it's a car note. I'm gonna beat you half to death, but I'm gonna kill y'all. Right? And we have to reverse that mentality of slavery. It was not slavery. Our people were placed into what's called work camps by planters. These white folk did not have the ability to grow anything. There were no almanacs published yet to tell them when to plant, what to plant, where to plant, how to plant it. They didn't know that. They saw some people that looked like me and you, some brown and red people, digging in the dirt, growing crop. They figured out they could take this little white cloud-looking stuff called cotton. They can manufacture that shit and send it back over to the homeland because that's what they do. They harvest the resources out the earth and send it back to their planet. And it's all they did. So how they get us on the plantation working there? Because they came in with contracts. They came in with pieces of paper. Hey, your grandmama, my grandmama, your granddaddy. Hey, listen, look, y'all need some new plows and some new hoes and a new mule. Your mule looks sick. We'll give you a mule on credit. What's credit? Don't worry about it. Just sign right here. At the end of the harvest, you owe me this much right here. Oh, okay, I can do that. Cool. Hey, you know you're late on your payment, right? Watch how this story went from slavery to right now 2023 with your badass credit.
Accumulating debt.
You know you missed the payment, right? We did, yeah. So we got to take about 6 more bales of that cotton from you. God damn, they ain't gonna leave me with nothing. Yeah. You can sign another contract and get financed again for what this time? You can get another mule, you can plow half the land. And when they show y'all these black and white pictures of our ancestors out in the cotton field, you think them niggas are slave. They at work. This is how sick our mind is. We look on Google and look up slavery. You see
let me tap in real quick, Minister. My father was born in 1924, and they didn't have refrigerators and stuff back then. So when they wanted to eat and stuff like that, they went to the house unless they had food at the house. So they would go pick cotton, and based on how much cotton he picked, okay, that's how much he would get. And they would weigh it up. Now he would get a ticket for the house where, they would eat at. If you ever saw Queen or any of that, and you saw them going to the houses where they would eat and they would serve them out dishes, that's where, after they had picked so much cotton or whatever the work that they did for that day, whatever the day labor and specialty was. But for my father, he didn't have no skills. He was born 1924. So as a young boy, 10 and 11, he remembers still picking cotton. And then he would receive a ticket for the food house. And he would also receive a ticket for any other things he might need, like clothes, shoes, whatever else. And they didn't never specifically receive money. That's what he told me. It was like a ticket that they received. And they would weigh up the cotton. Now, my father's name is Jesse, West Virginia, 1924. Okay. So now, like the minister just said, he's not a slave on the field. He goes to pick cotton to earn enough to go eat and do whatever he needs to do. So cotton wasn't the only industry at the time. You had steel workers, mill workers, grain, whatever was the industry. If they needed work in those fields, you would go work in those fields, earn enough to eat and get tickets for the food house or whatever else you needed for that day. Okay, so you have to be aware that that's going on. That goes against child labor laws, because we have children that are hungry enough to go pick cotton so that they can eat. So the minister is right and correct when he says, no, they weren't slaves. They really were working, because that is the oral history my father gave me. And Walter Plecker wasn't inducted until 1930 something, because my father was born 1924. That means he had no birth certificate and he had no social security card. So really his birthday was approximated on the birth certificate and on the social security card, because he was born before the era of Walter Plecker. See, when my father was born, Walter Plecker and them were already getting that system into play to force people into racehood, which is black, white, Negroid, free, sovereign, citizen, whatever else you want to call it. And that's where that birth certificate and that social security card come into play. And that's actual facts. You can look this up yourself, because when I did my family tree, that is exactly what I found. My father's age is estimated because he was born before the birth certificates, which they started issuing in the late 1930s.
Hold on.
So if you go back and look at that history, I'm sorry, go ahead, Minister. You about to say something?
Yeah. Hold on. Listen. David B. Listen. The brother said, my dad was born in 39. He picked cotton in Monroe, Georgia as a kid, sharecropping or tenant farming. Dave B.
Right. Charlie Brown said they got vouchers.
Watch this. I'm from Monroe, Georgia.
Wow.
That's my hometown.
Wow.
My grandmother shared with me that my grandmother was a sharecropper out of Monroe, Georgia.
So you can say when we saying that they weren't the minister, I'm just backing up what the minister was saying when he said they wasn't slaves. They were really working because they natural resources have been usurped by these beings, telling them now you got to work for your own natural resource to eat.
That's it. Now,
so David, David B, thank you.
Let me show you this real quick now. To back up what you just said, sis. I'm gonna bring some receipts real quick.
Y'all, listen, I'm gonna have to get off here in a minute, y'all.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna end in about another 5 minutes anyway.
Okay.
This right here is General Order number 3, family. This is General Order number 3. General Order number 3 was read to the people in Texas, who found out later about the Emancipation Proclamation. The word emancipate means to transfer as property, right? General Order number 3 reads as this: the people are informed in accordance with the proclamation, which is a public statement by a government official from the executive of the United States, alluding to the president. All slaves are free. Now we can stop reading right there and start the Juneteenth celebration if we wanted to. That's Juneteenth right there. Okay, let's just stop right there. Stop reading, or we can continue to read to find out how you was usurped from your rightful position into employmentship. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property, talking to the white folk, between farmer, master, and slaves, and the connection herefore. So you can't say master and slave no more, sis. Stop saying that. Stop saying master and slave, because according to this order right here, it would no longer be master and slave. The connection is hereforth existing between them becomes that of employer and hired labor. The freed are advised to remain in their present homes and work for wages. This is where it came from. This was the beginning of employment for Negroes. So the system was all wise, right, and exact. Your employer is actually your master, according to General Order number 3. This was read and gave you the birth of what's called Juneteenth. Penal colony continue, y'all. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us tonight, man. It's been 2 hours and then but head banging on here.
Oh yeah.
They've been killing it. They've been chilling it. Listen, if y'all like what y'all heard tonight, man, rock with your boy M.O.I. We're coming back. We're coming back. We're coming back. We ain't even get into the whole next time, so let's go into the brain.
And that's what I was gonna tell you. I wanted to come back next time and go back over Taz's PowerPoint, because Taz's PowerPoint will really get us back into that brain part of the open penal colony that we were discussing.
Let's bring Taz on here for part 3.
Oh, yeah. I hope yes. Please.
I offered him to come tonight. Declined.
For goddamn part 3. So listen, y'all, we coming back part 3. Bring the good brother Taz. He's gonna bring the PowerPoint back with him, and we're going back. This time we're going to the brain. We went to the land already to show y'all
Let's
the
do
penal
it.
colony on
Let's
the
do
land.
it.
Next time, talking about the pineal colony, the mental slavery that we're going through, y'all. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah.
Thanks, sis, for rocking on. We gotta get out of here. Appreciate y'all, man. It's all love. Thank y'all so much. Peace and light. Finally
Thank
got
you,
you on here. I'm
Mr.
excited. You can send
Thanks
me
for
up
having us.
anytime, man. Let's set a date for sometime next week. Get tags back on that family. Appreciate y'all.
For sure.
One love, one love. Man, we rocked it tonight, family. We rocked it tonight. The sister killed it. Appreciate y'all rocking with M.O.I. If you're not already following, follow me on Instagram at Minister Informing. Follow everybody, man. Keep rocking with us. I'm telling y'all, between my platform, the Good Brother Taz platform, if you're rocking with Chrome TV, between that platform, if you ain't learned enough yet, boy, I'm telling y'all, I don't know what y'all doing. Hope y'all took great notes tonight, man. We appreciate y'all. It's peace, it's love, it's light. Continue to learn, continue to grow. I'm here anytime. And as a matter of fact, shoot me an email, DM me, man. If y'all got questions, I know y'all probably got more questions than answers tonight, man. Shoot me an email. Holler at your boy, man. M.O.I.